I don't know about you guys, but I've been looking forward to this one. The My Little Pony comic series launched on November 28, 2012, and believe it or not, it's been running for over 2 years now. Over the course of 26 issues, we've had 9 completed story arcs and 2 standalone stories, and we're currently in our 10th story arc encompassing issues 27 and 28. In today's top 5, I'm going to be listing what I thought were the best of the best out of all these stories. Since the root of the problem hasn't been completed yet, it wasn't considered as a candidate for this list. So, let's get started. Number 5. Zen and the Art of Gazebo Repair, issues 9 and 10. Don't get me wrong, adventure arcs are fun and all, but sometimes I like to wind it down a little bit with some comedy. It is my favorite genre after all, and this story arc doesn't fail to deliver. As I watched Big Mac go on his quest for nails, I wasn't sure if I should feel sorry for him or if I should laugh at his expense. The premise is simple, sure. Hell, it's bare bones. But it's held up by some really funny writing and some great art. And some notable appearances from Fleetfoot, Trixie, Princess Luna, and a bunch of other characters as well. Number 4. Nightmare Rarity, issues 5 through 8. I will admit, this arc isn't the most structurally sound when it comes to story, and there are a lot of flaws that I didn't notice when I first read it. However, even though I don't think the arc was as good as I thought it was when it came out, the fact remains that I found this to be a very enjoyable read. I found it really interesting that the Nightmare Force was a separate entity that feeds off of a pony's loneliness. I thought that story element went well with Rarity's hidden insecurities about being abandoned by her friends, and the scene where she tries to convince Spike to go over to her side is one of my favorite parts of this arc. And to top it all off, Nightmare Rarity's design is gorgeous. So while this arc could have been better story-wise, it had enough going for it that it earned its spot on this list. Number 3. The Return of Queen Chrysalis, issues 1 through 4. Come on, did you really think this arc wasn't going to make the list? Shame on you. This was arguably the perfect way to start off the My Little Pony comic series. It showed us that villains from past episodes weren't going to be forgotten. It showed us that they were going to explore different aspects of the universe of MLP that the show doesn't explore. It showed us new art direction that, while different, still stuck to the tone of the MLP universe quite well. And above all else, it showed us that the staff was willing to take advantage of this new medium and take the series in a direction that the TV show couldn't or wouldn't take it in. Because of the different industry standards, there are things that a kid's comic can do that wouldn't fly in a kid's TV show. As for the story itself, it was a really fun ride. The banter between the CMC and Chrysalis is hilarious, and seeing Andy Price's MLP artwork for the first time blew me away. To sum it up, I couldn't have asked for a better way to start off this series. It proved to us that the IDW staff was not playing around. Number 2. Nay Anything, issues 11 and 12. What's that? Shining Armor and Princess Cadance are totally flat characters with no chemistry or grounding in their relationship? Yeah, why don't you go and read these 2 issues, then come back and try and say that same thing to me with a straight face. While I was by no means a die-hard Princess Cadance fan, this was a story arc that the Cadance fans needed. I was willing to admit that she didn't really have much going for her as far as the canon was concerned, but that all changed once this comic dropped. Not only does this story show us how Cadance and Shining Armor fell in love, but we also get some background on Cadance's relationship with Twilight and how she ended up with the babysitting gig in the first place. The comic is also chock full of 80s references that while I didn't get, being a 90s kid, a lot of older fans will definitely appreciate. Oh, and Cadance's fall formal outfit was hella sexy. If character backstory is what you crave, then this comic is guaranteed to deliver. Now, before I get to my top pick, I'd like to give out 2 honorable mentions. The first goes to the Manhattan Mysteries arc, issues 21 and 22, for giving us some development with Trixie and showing us a budding friendship between her and Babs as former bad girls. The second honorable mention goes to My Little Pirate Friendship Ahoy, issues 13 and 14, because One Piece cameos. Not a big One Piece fan, but props to Brenda Hickey for putting that in there. And my number 1 MLP comic story arc is Reflections, issues 17 through 20. Oh my god, this arc. I cannot even begin to tell you how much I love this story. Although this was probably the most controversial arc of the My Little Pony comics to date. Well, that and The Good, the Bad, and the Ponies, but let's just not talk about that. Despite the controversy though, I still love this arc. We get backstory on Star Swirl, we get explanation for the Mirror to Equestria girls, and best of all, we get the most human portrayal of Celestia that we've ever gotten in canon material. Throw in some beautiful artwork, awesome character designs for the alternate universe, and some great humor, and you got a phenomenal story. Even though this comic predated Rainbow Rocks, the background that we get on Star Swirl helps to give the background to the Sirens more grounding. And the tragic romance between Celestia and the alternate King Sombra was definitely a tearjerker. I'm getting a little misty-eyed just thinking about it. Anyway, it's because of all this that this is my favorite arc of the My Little Pony comics. Despite some of the flaws that it had, it hit all the right notes and pulled at all the right heartstrings. And I look forward to the day where we get another arc that surpasses it. So there you have it. Those are my top MLP comic story arcs. I do realize that 4 of the 5 slots are taken up by stories done by Katie Cook and Andy Price, but that just shows how much I love the work of these two. My next top 5 will list my favorite Friends Forever issues, and it should be released later this week. So, what'd you guys think of today's top 5? Let me know in the comments below or hit me up on Tumblr, and feel free to let me know your own personal top 5. Also, consider supporting me on PayPal through art commissions or donations. Until next time, keep it sketchy, folks.